What's up, guys? What's going on? I'm Paul. This is Pauline Theology, and we are continuing our study in James chapter 3, verse 13 through 16. And we are going through kind of what the New Testament's wisdom literature is, that James is speaking some wisdom to us on how we should live. And what we're finding out, it seems, is that a wise life is demonstrated by actions. And not only is it demonstrated by actions, but a certain kind of actions, good and righteous, pure actions. That is the wisdom that is from God. And we're going to see here that wisdom that is not in this nature is a wisdom that is of, not from God, then it's probably from Satan. And so let's check this out. If you haven't read James chapter 3, 13 through 16, go ahead and check it out. And if you have, let's go ahead and dive into it. So what is James actually saying here in this letter that he's writing in these verses? Well, he says that if you're wise or you're understanding, that means if you have an understanding or wisdom or smart or what you should do is demonstrate it. He says, show by your good actions and a gracious wisdom or a gentle wisdom. This is the wisdom that God gives. And so he kind of like goes against that, or there's like an opposite of that. It says, because if you have a wisdom that is jealous or that is envying, and that's the reason, the motivation that's in your heart for having this wisdom, then you're lying to yourself on thinking that you're wise. And so there's so many people out there I know that think that they have a lot of knowledge, understanding, know how to navigate the world. But if they do it with a bitterness or a jealousy or an envy in their heart, it's not the wisdom of God. They're lying to themselves. They're lying about the truth of the nature of who they are. And James further says because this wisdom is not the wisdom from heaven, because God only gives good gifts. He says this wisdom is earthly, sensual, and sensual means that it's not spiritual. That is, it's not the kind of wisdom that comes from above. He says, but it is demonic. He goes on to say that it is actually demonic. He says, because where there's strife or where there's jealousy or envy, he says, then that means there's all kinds of unstable, crazy, vile, and evil things. Okay? So what does this scripture say about God? Well, I think what it says is that the wisdom that God gives is good and righteous. The wisdom that God gives man is a good, righteous, pure, and holy wisdom. And that's how you know it is true wisdom, because there is only one wise God. What's it say about man is that our wisdom is demonstrated by our actions. We know that we're wise by the way that we live, how we treat people, what we act like, but then also the motivation behind the things that we do. You see, earlier we talked about actions and faith, and I think this is the thing here, is that James actually wants us to realize that faith is a foundation of all of the things that we do, and it's by that faith we do these actions. And that's why the actions occur. But if we do the actions so that we can somehow gain some type of thing, it's wrong. And this is earthly and sensual, because the desire behind it is selfish. Well, how can we apply these truths to our lives? Well, we need to examine ourselves, guys. We need to take a look at what of our lives, what are we doing these things for? Are we doing them because we desire God and love God and want to serve God and help others? Or is it for some selfish, ambitious type thing? We've got to check our motives and see those things as we go through life, guys. Man, it is a blessing to go through James with you guys, and I hope that this wisdom that we're learning about, the actions that we live, will be demonstrated in our lives. And I think that's an application today, is that let's live out this wisdom that we're learning. Let's live out this caring of heart, of helping others, of the true religion. I thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next episode.